And good morning. I guess we'll call this the morning after, won't we? Still streets are wet in the Meridian area, and we do still have rain in Mississippi. It's on the coast as we go to Biloxi and those areas there, stretching from Houma, Louisiana, all the way across to the Carolinas is what we've got this morning. But we're clear here. We'll be getting reports as daylight comes up of damage in the area from overnight. We do know that in the house community, like last night, we did have several power lines down. We'll look at that in a moment. And the biggest that I'm aware of damage, and we'll look at the pictures that we do have this morning, Eutaw, Alabama, just right across the line, an apartment complex was hit there. A lot of damage done to the area in Eutaw, Alabama. I hope you're safe. There's a lot of you that woke up earlier this morning without power. Now let's go over and take a look at what EMEPA is telling us with this. Let me update and give the latest of what EMEPA numbers are. As you wake up this morning, they're down. There was nearly at one point about 700 this morning that was down. As we look at this, we've got 5 out in the Bailey area. We have roughly 40 in this area right here due north of Chunky, and then we come south of Meridian, right along in here, and we see that we've got, this is the Arundel. This is going to be Valley Road, right there, about 27 without power. They've made great strides. It was huge over in this area earlier this morning. All the power restored in Wyandotte. We had some storms roll through, didn't we? Very fortunate that things were not any worse than they were. Again, we'll learn a little bit more after daylight. Always some tree limbs that done damage, but nothing major. Let's go to We're Honda radar this morning and take a look at what we've got and what we're seeing here. As we pull this up, this is the view of what we've got this morning on radar. As I mentioned here on the Gulf Coast, Houma, down in this area here, this storm's still stretching across here through Mobile, Pensacola, and through Dothan, Alabama, and on up through Georgia, through Macon, Augusta, on up to the Carolinas, all the way to Charlotte. It's a long stretch, and I believe we still have one. We've got one right now. Tornado warning in this area right along in here. Things are calming down with it. Many thunderstorm warnings have been issued with it as it came across. State of Mississippi had a lot of these last night of tornado warnings that were issued. As we see this, we're showing here on radar, right there, Eutaw. That's where we mentioned the damage that were done. Back in the Macomb area, they took off and were a little bit worse in these areas down around Macomb. And right here, let's zoom in on this and take a look here. Columbia had one. We had another one right here. This was in Lawrence County is where this took place. Debris reported with possible structure damage in that area. As we come down to Columbia, we show that confirmed tornado on Highway 35, Jeff Davis line. And then back over here due south of Macomb at Magnolia was another one. Spotter reported tree damage on 55 right there along Highway 55 if you were going to Jackson from Macomb up toward Brookhaven and those areas. We move up north here. Here's Taylorsville. West over here, we had 3 in this area right along in there. This is going to be Simpson County. Branches and trees down. We had another one down in southeastern Mississippi, right there at before you get to Central Nail as you'd cross in there. Right there, we had reports in that area also. To my knowledge, no major damage, no major injuries at this point. That is the good news of what we're looking at this morning. Thank heavens. We look up here to the north end of the state. Some more tornadoes that rolled across. And if you'll remember, this is where it all started yesterday morning in that area. And then again, that being the worst that I know of in between Mississippi and Alabama. Now, daylight may change everything as we look at things as to what's going on today. But thank heavens we're all safe and we're getting along. I hope you feel good. I won't have to have an extra cup of coffee today as we begin it. That's my plan anyway. We'll look into all of that. Let's go out to Collinsville now. And probably no truer words have ever been said as we let Brother Ben talk to us this morning, as he tells us about it's not always safe being a Christian. We know that. Let's see what Brother Ben has to say this morning.
Just keeping it real, being a Christian is not always safe. Jesus makes that clear in Matthew 10. If they called our Lord and Savior the devil, what will they call us? If they crucified Him, what won't they do to us? A disciple is not above his teacher, nor a servant above his master. Now, Jesus, to his credit, never hid these hard realities from us. No, he was sure to tell us the whole truth. He plainly declared that he was sending us out into the world as sheep in the midst of wolves. He said, you'll be arrested, beaten, maligned, put on trial, and even put to death because you follow Christ. Beloved, being a Christian isn't always safe, but it's always blessed. Nothing this world can throw at you can separate you from the love of God found in Christ Jesus. And when you leave this earth, you will be safely received into the eternal home of heaven. Live today in light of that safe reception. Change begins in you.
The Change Begins in You is brought to you in part by Piggly Wiggly of Collinsville, Patrick Allen Companies, Mitchell Tire and Wrecker in Collinsville, and Mowdy Cabinetry. Pretty strong message, wasn't it? Hope you got a little something out of that this morning as we all learn things together. I always like hearing those. Starts your day off good. Again, streets are wet no matter what you're doing. Drive careful as you make your day and head out into the big wide world, what you've got to do. As we turn to look at a few things, now, during all this bad weather, weather takes preference on what is going on. This is going to be a little bit brighter. Let me turn this on. We need to see streets and things of that nature. As you slept last night, we did have some gunfire in the city as we'll go here up Poplar Springs Drive. Let's take a look at this. Reported in the 2200 block of Poplar Springs Drive, this area right here, as we pull this up for you to take a look here. This area here, right past Point Rexall, Hope Village for Children sits over here. This would be on Poplar Springs Drive. We get a lot of reports of shots in that area. No one hurt, no one damaged that we're aware of. Thank goodness on that. Our next place that we would have mentioned there would be 38th Street and Grand Avenue. We are starting now in the Meridian area seeing more and more activity in that part of the county. Y'all familiar with what I'm talking about? Let's look at the map here. As we pull this up, right there, here's Northwood Country Club. Here's the tennis courts, and this is Grand Avenue right here at 38th Street. Gunfire reported there last night. Again, with that being said, I don't have any reports of any damage or anyone being hurt with that. We still don't need that, do we? No, we don't. There are other things that went on, but weather took preference over everything. Your safety is most important. And we'll get back to tracking things a little bit closer as that severe weather threat has moved out of the area there. We'll keep a close eye on things, and who knows what went on last night that we're not aware of at this point. If you'll remember, as we were tracking weather, it got really bad. Highway 19 at House, Mississippi. Do y'all remember that when we talked about it, where it was basically there for a long time, sitting right there at Talbot Enterprises, just heavy, heavy wind. And as we said, there's always some type of damage when we're showing that much wind on radar. And we pull this up. This is the scene that we got from there. This is a power line that was knocked down. That's right in front of, in the curve right past Talbot Enterprises. Power line snapped, laid to the ground. Now, if one is done, we're sure that there's probably more things in that area. Be careful wherever you go today. There still could be debris in the road, and we definitely don't want you having an accident on your way into work. Let's come across and see what else we got. We talked about the power getting turned back on. That's good. As the biggest that we've got, and let's go here. This was shared from Eutaw, Alabama. And let's look at this. This is the pictures here. Tracy Quinney shared these pictures, and you'll look at this. This is an apartment complex in Eutaw, Alabama. As you can see there, it's a lot of damage there. There's the apartment complex with the roof entirely gone. Major damage there in Eutaw, Alabama. Now, there may be more structure damage there that we're not aware of, but that's what we're seeing bright and early this morning as we go over to Eutaw. Let's pray for all those families that everything is going to be okay in that area. As soon as we get more information, we'll pass that along to you today also. As we look around the state of Mississippi, what's going on? Lynn Finch, state auditor, not the state auditor, state attorney. I said that wrong this morning, Attorney General. As we've watched all of this student loan, she joins now with those trying to block this. They just don't feel it's right. It's a nationwide push to stop this. It's going to cost taxpayers millions upon millions. Your college education wasn't given to you free either. It's a definite line across America right now how people feel about it. Some think that the taxpayer should pay for their college education and be forgiven, while others feel if it wasn't done for everybody, it shouldn't be done now. We'll see what Lynn Finch does on this and how far that goes. It is a fight there. This is sad. As we go to Jackson, Mississippi, our friends at Dark Horse Press tracking this story for us, as we see that two teenagers, they found a car wrecked, and as the police got to the scene to open the door to help them get out, they would be deceased. They were shot. I think it's a 17 and a 19-year-old, as they try to discover what became of them, what it was about. Jackson, Mississippi, JPD investigating this murder. It's a homicide, no other way to put it. Just as you think things can't get much worse, we go down to, and this is the store been only open 2 to 3 days. Crystal Springs, Mississippi, a gas station opened up, or convenience store, however you want to word it. They had a 17-year-old working. He was shot and killed. Police are investigating it, and all they really know at this point is they got some video of a minivan driving off from the scene. They're searching for the killer. We do hope they find him. Again, this Crystal Spring is where that went on. We don't know a lot. It's still under investigation with police. We hope the killer or killers is brought to justice as we look around the state at this point. Intimidating witnesses. Judges usually frown on that, don't they? Well, you can't do it. You've seen it in all of the bad guy movies there, where the mob always threatens somebody. If you talk, we'll come get you. Well, a woman tried it in Columbus. She's been denied bond now. Tampering with a witness. It's a big no-no in the court of law. You just can't do it. You may think it, but you can't do it. As we come around and see a few other stories that are happening this morning, nothing like getting, as we talk about the police of what they deal with, this is nationwide, not only in the state of Mississippi, but everywhere. We know that in our little hometown, a police officer lost his life in his room when he responded to a domestic violence case. Well, no one died in this, fortunately, but boy, how people get mad. And this is Greenville, Mississippi, the Mississippi Delta. Man got mad at his girlfriend because, well, she left the front door unlocked. So why not stab her? That's exactly what he done. He's been arrested. You're innocent until proven guilty in a court of law, but my heavens, isn't that a little extreme, or at least I think it is? That's the headline out of Greenville, Mississippi, in the Mississippi Delta this morning. We see this so many times, and it does bother people. Again, as we see lines drawn in America of how people feel, of where they are. Abortion, one of those. Capital punishment is the next line that is drawn in the sand, to where there are those that agree with it and those that don't. I do agree with it. I think if you take someone's life, you're found guilty without a shadow of a doubt that it needs to be taken care of. A Mississippi man that is on death row. He's been sitting there since 2001. I think this is going to mark the third or fourth time. His execution was set for December the 14th. They filed his attorneys filed for him back in 2015 about the lethal injection. They were using 3 different types that would put him to sleep, the 3 different types of drugs. The judge is deciding whether or not it'll be postponed due to this. Down to the wire on this. Again, and you look at why he's in there. He killed a 16-year-old. Eutaw County, it was somebody's daughter. Doesn't that bother you? It does me. I don't see how this just keeps on going and going and going. But that's the way it is. You're either for it or you're against it. Most in Mississippi are. There are some that don't believe in capital punishment. I do realize that. As we head over to, let's see where we head next, Vicksburg. Well, there's been a stabbing over at the Motel 6 right there in one of the rooms. They're investigating it. It's a homicide on top of it. Always things found like that. They are investigating as we go near Tupelo, Mississippi. Human remains have been found. Not a lot of details at this point, but we know that police are investigating. We hope they identify that and someone's pain can be put to rest if they know where their loved one is. Now, I'm not familiar with this guy as we look at a few of these headline stories this morning. He's newcomers to country music. But this is a sad story. Just a an awful ending. Your marriage day should be one of the happiest days of your life. And again, I'm not sure if the guy's big or not. Country is not country anymore to me. But a singer named Jake Flint, have y'all seen this headline? 37 years old, got married, dies in his sleep on his wedding night. No word yet on what all went on with that, but how sad that is. Condolences on that. As we look around, let's see, Twitter is reinstating 62,000 people. Maybe you were one of those people that got, silenced. Is that the word for it? They're reinstating 62,000 as Elon Musk throws the switch back to let them be back on again. We'll see how that goes. It's a lot of folks that's mad. They'll get over it, won't they? South Dakota, and there is no doubt, again, here's a line drawn on this, and I know that a lot of people love it. They watch it. They use it every day. It's kind of like almost an addiction. They can't give it up. TikTok. Now, we all know that that's not an American-based company. As you dig into this, there's been numerous reports that if you download that to your phone, it gives them access to other things in your phone. Hackers. Still hadn't slowed down people from downloading the app and using it. It's a nationwide phenomenon. There's a lot of people making money off of it as well. South Dakota, the governor is banning it from the state. She says it's not good. It's a threat to national security. Been banned there. Now, I don't know how you actually enforce that, but it is being banned. We make people line up and check their phone. I doubt that works. I don't know if there's a bigger way to do that from internet companies. I don't know. Maybe that's how it's done. The Senate. Didn't see this one. I wasn't even aware that it was headed to the United States Senate. But as we look at this, the Senate has passed a vote to make same-sex marriage a federal law now. You had 11 Republicans that stepped across party line and joined the Democrats to pass the bill. It goes back to the House now. We'll see where it goes there. Senate gets thumbs up on it. It's a lot of stories there. Did you see this in New York City? Some are saying it was hate. Others are saying that the woman was attacked. It was back during the pandemic when a woman was in New York City, and it was protesters there that jumped on her car. She floorboarded it, trying to get away. If I read the story right and understand it, maybe I'm wrong. Hopefully she was just trying to get away from them. They tried to do a plea deal with her. She wouldn't take it. She said that she will take her chances in court. She feels that she's innocent and that she was being attacked. We'll watch that and let you know how that comes out. It would be scary. Again, I wasn't there on this. I'd have to go back and look at that video again. But it would be scary to be somewhere and your car gets surrounded by people. It would. Let's hope that the truth comes out on this matter and it's handled the right way in court. That's what we hope. Good morning. It's already Wednesday, midweek. We've got Candace coming in just a little bit. We're going to check your forecast next as we get this morning underway. We'll be right back. Join Mike Rice Auctions and Wholesales every Tuesday night for a live auction, and you can bid from the comfort of your own home. Each week, Mike has a whole selection of auction items. Maybe you're a business that needs a liquidation sale. Or maybe you're in charge of an estate and don't know what to do with all you got. Talk to Mike Rice Auctions about an estate sale. Let Mike turn these items into cash for you. Your next deal is waiting for you at Mike Rice Auctions and Wholesale this Tuesday night, live on Facebook at 6:30.
For something as vital as your eyes, you should have your lenses and contacts made with the utmost care and precision. And that's what Grayson Optical does on 24th Avenue. Since 1996, Grayson Optical's mission has been to provide Meridian and surrounding areas with quality eye care products. That's why we're locally owned and operated. And don't forget, custom-made sunglasses like Costa for your eyes only. When you need to see clearly, Grayson Optical. 2021 24th Avenue, Meridian. 601-693-6374.
Your forecast is brought to you by EMEPA, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
As we roll back the pages of time, we go back to 1981. It was a high of 82 today. I left off that 2, but that's what it was there. Our record low set back in 1976. Who remembers that? 16 degrees. Boy, it's been several days that we set records back in 76, today being one of the coldest there at 16. If y'all remember, today as we started out, a few clouds this morning, some light rain going out of the area. It will eventually clear up, and it's going to be colder as temperatures fall throughout the day. It'll get warmer in a few days. We'll look at that. But temperatures this morning around 66, and will drop. We'll tell you more about that in a minute here. As we look at the edge of Alabama there, we're looking at 54 for a high over in Tuscaloosa. As we come across to Auburn, these areas where the rain is moving through now, about a high of 69. All the way over on the eastern side of the state. Selma, we'll see 59. Demopolis, 56. A lot of rain went through there as well. As we look, we're going to be warmer for the next few days, but we do have that cool front pushing its way, and will make its way into Texas before long and through Louisiana and make its way to here to Mississippi. All right, let's pull it up and take a look at what our friends at Wilson Saw and Outdoor Power tell us on this 7-day outlook. Today, 61 for the high. 33 tonight. As we said, those temperatures will drop. We move in tomorrow a little bit cooler. That 54 as all this rain pushes out. And then by Friday, we start seeing the temperatures climb back up to 70 over the weekend. And we'll hold steady there. Even look at Monday, almost 75 degrees, hovering there at 74. Slight chance of rain on Monday, no weather threat, thank goodness. As we look at this, now this is the extended. This is where things will change as we go all the way through December the 14th. Can y'all believe that? Already talking about that close to Christmas? We will see the temperature change on the 8th of December and see highs only in the 50s for the following week. Nighttime lows a lot will be in the 30s as we look at that. So it'll get a Christmas feel before long as we look at all of this. As we come across toward Christmas, things will brighten up. What's going to happen with fishing today? If you've got that rod and reel or headed to go, let's check it on Chet's Paint and Body. As they tell us, you can head out today around 12:30 of minor time to about 2 in the afternoon. It will be dark 30 before you get another great chance late this afternoon at 5:30. If you like fishing in the dark, it is great right now through about 7:30 this morning. So you've got about 40 minutes left on a great time to hit it. Average day of fishing overall is what we're being told there on our fishing report. Again, let's go back to radar this morning and take a look at that and show you that one more time of what we've got today as we glance at this across the state where the rain is. Again, it's moved out. We want to remind you that streets are very slick today. We want you to use caution no matter where you go. If you've got to go to the Mississippi Gulf Coast, still raining down here in this area here. Starting to move into Alabama off the coast there, as you'll see it. All along the Florida coastline, Gulf Shores, it's going to be wet through Alabama, Enterprise area, and Dothan, and on out toward Georgia. We got a lot of weather activity happening there in Georgia, as you'll see that this morning. Some thunderstorm warnings. And we'll keep you up to date with what we get on information as daylight breaks of what we've had in our area as far as damage and where trees are down in those. Treat all roads. Drive a little bit slower, especially our back roads to where people may not have traveled overnight. We don't want you hitting a limb and being in an accident. Be careful. We're coming back in an hour and roughly 5 minutes from now. Candace will join me and we'll give you the latest of what's going on throughout the state, across the nation. We can't do it without you. Join us, please. It all begins at 8 o'clock right here on YouTube and on Facebook. The Scotty Ray Report. Thank y'all for joining us this morning. We'll see you soon.
The Scotty Ray Report is brought to you by our following partners: